gentlemen, it is showtime. At this time, I would like to introduce to your group that has made such hits as Whack the Freaks Out, Can't Keep My Hands to Myself, the hit LP 45 and video box, the same name, Pick and Choose. Ladies and gentlemen, would you put your hands together for West Recording Artist, Radiance, Radiance, Radiance.
Radiance wanted the same thing I wanted when I first got in it. To be number one, to be famous, rich, and have two or three albums out.
Cause at first we was getting hand-handed to us, man. Non-stop LTD and, you know, Together Band, everybody, man. You know, even the Perry players.
That was a good chemistry band, you know, just the elements, you know, the look, the sound, just able to have the right gear, man, that played an important part, you know.
As being a band, we started off playing for fun, and later we realized as we got older we were gonna have to play for funds. So we had to change that, and I believe I was one of the most ambitious people to say, you know, we're not doing this to play at a nightclub. We're not doing this to play at somebody's backyard barbecue. We're not doing this to play at a wedding reception. We're doing this because we want to play at the Oakland Coliseum. We're doing this because we felt we were born to entertain.
And our whole thing was to take a Las Vegas show and bring it to a nightclub.
You would get singing, you would get skits, you would get dancing, you would get spontaneous stuff, you know, just jump off in the crowd. It's Tyrone putting his butt in your face, anything.
All of those things combined kept people so on the edge that they didn't want to miss a show because they didn't know what they were going to see. It was never the same thing all the time.
Just to drive to blow people away, to blow the other band away. Because we took it as like a challenge, man. We wanted to be the best, man. We wanted to outdress the other band, outdance them, outsing them, man. We did. That's why we held that throne.
It was funny, you know, because we would get out on stage and have fun, you know, jump around, act crazy. But at the same time, in the back of our minds, we're out for one thing and one thing only. We're out to seek and destroy the audience. You know, we want to leave them wanting more.
No one ever left us and said, that was good, I've had enough. We developed a following playing the same songs, but people never got enough of what they saw because they couldn't believe what it was they were seeing.
To me, I mean, when I looked at it, it was kind of controlled chaos. You know, it was like cats was zoning and, you know, getting into their own zone and doing their own thing and jumping, and, you know, it was a high energy kind of, you know, gig, you know. I mean, you know, I've never seen anything like it.
We'd have a set. We knew what songs we were going to play. We'd played them hundreds of times before, but we never quite knew how we were going to play them. You know, meaning there was always room for some sort of spontaneity, whether it was musically or something funny was going to happen, or you just didn't know. And that excitement, the audience felt, but more importantly, the thing that people didn't realize is that we felt it. So it's one thing to perform for someone, but when you're performing for someone and for yourself, that's when you have magic.
I mean, you go to one of our shows and it literally looked like a premiere of a movie. People be lined up way around the corner trying to get in, and man, it was wild and crazy.
We would make your liver quiver, your knees freeze, and your big toe shoot straight out your boot.
You could put half of this band in a room with musicians, and, you know, we couldn't compare to a lot of these guys because they were good. We were okay, but they were good. But you could take those same guys, all the great musicians, and put them in a band together, and you still wouldn't have what we had, because united, we were strong.
We weren't the best musicians, but we were the best band.
Eric Young, incredible bass player. I mean, to this day, he's playing with Confunction right now, and when I watch him play, it's almost like watching Larry Graham play.
Well, I was in 11th grade, came to my high school. They were touring all the high schools, Larry Graham, to the station, playing the bass. Came to, did the show, and man, I sat up front like a little groupie. Oh, Larry! I just played the bass with him, so that's what I want to do. So that was my dream, man.
But show me a better entertainer on a bass guitar. Show me a better person that can sing and play simultaneously, move around, that can play the bass, put the bass down, get on a guitar, play actual chords, dance, sing and play. I mean, you even look at some old video footage of the Jacksons. Jermaine and Tito, neither one of them was doing what Eric could do. I'm talking about spinning around, dancing, singing, soloing. I haven't seen that yet. And honestly, and if anyone out there that's watching this can show me that, I would love to see it. I would place money on that.
I came home from work one day, and I didn't have a bar downstairs anymore. They somehow cut it up and took it to the dump or something. I don't know. And we built that bar with our own two hands. But anyway, so that was the end of my party room, and that began the start of the practice downstairs.
A typical day starts off with a good dose of rehearsal. We can't go a day without.
About what time would you start in the morning?
12. We're latecomers. We start around 12. And we usually wind down around 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
We rehearsed about 30 minutes, fought about 2 hours. But it was fun. Nah, we would just rehearse, man. I don't know how we just put it together, but everything came together with the choreography.
I mean, while kids were outside playing football in the street and, watching television, doing whatever, we were rehearsing. That was our pastime.
Byron, for some reason, he was the future. He had the sounds and the hooks of what was going on, not at that time, but what was going to be the next thing, Byron, he was really in touch with that kind of stuff. And I think the thing about him the most that I liked, because he was uncontrollable, was when he was on stage, anything goes for him. Tyrone was kind of like that too, but Byron was like that with the guitar. He'd run all over the place. That's why I'm so glad they invented cordless guitars, because you could not tie Byron down.
He's like 6'3", 200 pounds. So you couldn't miss Byron, but he wanted to make sure everybody saw him.
Be 22 till the day he dies. He's very in touch with everything that's going on musically and just youthful.
We would go out on stage. Our hair would look good. You know, our outfits looked good. We went out and spent money on some wild stuff. It was, you know, sequins and the spandex pants and no shirts, and you know, we were out there, but we looked good.
Listen, man, what you wearing tonight? So I'll say, nothing. I have it in a bag. It'll be a zippity dun 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 with the matching hat.
You know, I had an idea, a whole different idea than what, you know, actually happened. You know, I was gonna put these cats in some green and white uniforms with some flashy shit on it.
You know, within a short 2 or 3 years, we went from playing at the Lucky Lion to being on the roster with Frank Sinatra, Sarah Vaughan, Donny Osmond, James Ingram, and Patty Austin. How did that happen?
We showed them a videotape and we sent them a studio tape that we made out here and produced ourselves. Wrote all the material. And they said, we'll get back to you in about 2 or 3 days. And actually the next day they called us back.
Radiance gets a record deal after all the blood, sweat, and tears, and people said that we had not paid enough dues, and now we're going to get a record deal. I was blown away, and I think the whole band was blown away.
I did not believe it. I did not believe it, man, all the way up until the time we got on the plane to go to Columbus. And then I started believing it.
But to go to Quincy's label, you know, the man, the doctor of the music business, it was like, wow. So I wanted to really prove myself. So it was like making a record for Quincy Jones was like, you had to do your best.
I used to look at Billboard magazine, and there was a blurb about Radiance there, about our album. And I just got totally excited. It's like, it's coming out, it's coming out. There's a release date published in Billboard, and a week later, somebody called me early in the morning from back east to tell me that they had just turned on American Bandstand, and Dick Clark was playing our song, Pick and Choose, on Radar Record. And so I turned on the TV, and sure enough, there was the tail end of our song being played. That was amazing.
One of the baddest cats, you know, that I could think of. I mean, this is the cat that produced for the OJs, Shaka Khan. He was the staff producer at Sugar Hill Records.
A lot of producers don't want you to know tricks. Don't want you to know this, that, and another. Most producers will actually record the tracks, get your vocals on it, and ask you to leave. I've seen a lot of that. Reggie invited us to learn.
Very patient person. You know, and you could ask him anything and he'd give you the answer to it, not just show you, he'd tell you why.
Byron broke his guitar, or Tyrone broke it. I think Tyrone broke it.
They kind of messed up Red's guitar.
After all these years, it was you.
I blamed it on Tyrone.
Hearing your song on the radio for the first time is just, there's no feeling like that. It's almost like, you know, you're a father for the first time, and here's your baby. You know, that's the feeling that came over me when I heard it on the radio.
And it was amazing. I get home, right across the street, there's a family called the Waters family. I pull up, they're all running out the house because I guess one person called the other person, and so my block turned into a block party in a matter of minutes. I pull down, everybody's jumping up and hugging and everything, and I was like, I can't believe this is me.
Man, I mean, it was just like, wow. I mean, you know, I made it, you know. Gonna be all night. I was jamming, man. I mean, I kept calling the radio station all night. Can you play that song?
First time, like I said, it was a heartthrobber. It was, I think, I don't know, man. I think it was like one of the best feelings I ever had.
Tyrone is not your average person, whether he's in the music business or not. He's a person that would walk in a room and the room was his.
It was amazing to see the transformation day in and day out from Tyrone Triggs, the person, to Tyrone Triggs, the entertainer, when he hit the stage, it was a phenomenal thing. And, you know, we felt it as much as the audience did. You know, we're talking about incorporating Elvis Presley, James Brown, Little Richard, all these people into one dynamic entertainment force. He took this stuff, he's like he took the best elements of the greatest entertainers of the 20th century and just repackaged it and just threw it in your face.
So I got a chance to see a lot of entertainers. I got a chance to see the theatrics, and sometimes I would sneak down my back stairs and sneak inside the Half Note and the Sportsman Inn and watch Bobby Freeman and Little Dion and Jackie Wilson and all them cats doing Lonely Teardrops. Oh man, I knew what I wanted to be. I wanted to be an entertainer. I knew.
And then sometimes right before a show, you say, be ready. I'm like, I'm ready. No, I need you to be ready. I don't know what he want me to. All of a sudden, he'll come over there right in the middle of the show. He said, okay, when I do this, you do this. No practice, no nothing. And he was great for that. And it kept things exciting.
Tyrone was more of the theatrical singer. But when Tyrone's on the stage, you never want to take your eyes off of him. Because it's like, what is he going to do next? You know, he's just exciting. And Kenny Mitchell, he was just a swooner, you know. He has a style. His style sort of reminds me of Howard Hewitt, you know, and I really like for him to be singing a lot of the ballads and stuff because, you know, the girls like that.
That was part of the magic of it, you know, because I was more on a, you know, stand-up kind of doo-wop thing, and he was like, you know, breaking doors down, so I got a chance to check that world out.
Kenny comes from a very, very rich musical background. His brother was in the group The Floaters, and so Kenny got to grow up with his brother and the band amidst their musical success with their big hit in 1977, Float On.
One of the members, Kenny Taylor, called me, and he said, yeah, man, we want to, you know, we'd like to offer you an opportunity to come to California, you know, but we got to hear you sing.
On the phone, she calls, and we talk to little Kenny, and he, Ribbon in the Sky, and he starts singing. So then we were like, wow.
Look, Kenny brought that East Coast, down home, just raw, rugged voice. And because he was so small, the women felt like they can just put him in a pocket and carry him home. And he was real genuine. One thing about him, he wasn't like he used to say, he said, you guys are California kids. Little Kenny was from Detroit. He was not a joke, and little Kenny would rush up on somebody that was 7 feet tall and say, you talking to me?
Jeffrey Osborne and Gladys Knight all in one, you know, he could sing everybody's stuff.
From a recording standpoint, we were the first ones out of probably the last 5 years to kind of come out of there, along with Sam Bostic. It was just Sam Bostic and Radiance. We were on Quest, Warner Brothers, Sam was on MCA. Then you started seeing other groups starting to practice a lot around the Bay Area and coming to our performances, groups that later came on to become Tony.
In the neighborhood where most of us grew up and where we practiced, we weren't only musicians in the neighborhood. I mean, a block and a half away was Sheila E., the Escovedo family, bass player for Sly and the Family Stone, Gary Jackson. There was Frankie Beverly and Mays, later on MC Hammer. There was just a slew of musicians. I mean, in like a 10-block radius, just a lot of things happening.
Kenny Taylor was a mastermind behind the whole thing. You know, he's always had a vision. He's always wanted to be a recording artist. You know, Kenny had the foresight, you know, to put this thing together, and with the help of his mom, Barbara Taylor, you know, they were the reason that we got a record deal in the first place.
When I think about myself back then, I look at ambition. I looked at all the things that I did, right and wrong, because I did a lot of things that were wrong in terms of this group. But at that particular time, I thought I was doing them for what I thought was best for the group. So a lot of times, without checking with the group, I did things, and But I have to admit, one of those things led to the record contract. So I have to say, I think my ambition was an ingredient.
When you talk about Kenny Taylor, you know, what talents doesn't this guy have? I mean, he's a great songwriter. He's a great keyboard player. He's a great bass player. And more importantly, though, he had the vision of putting it all together, meeting the band together. You know, the thing about the band is that we weren't necessarily picked. We just came together, but I think it was all under the umbrella of Ken's vision.
And when you're on stage, man, it's a whole nother adrenaline. It's like no other feeling.
You see a crowd of faces, man, and then like 12 rows, maybe 12 rows in, or maybe even closer, it all kind of mushes together, you know. So you entertain this, you know, I did, you know, entertaining this certain crowd of people, man, because you can't see. I mean, you know, back in the back, man, it's just like.
It was heaven. Because even though there were times when we may not have agreed artistically, when we hit stage, we was a unit, man.
I could be up on stage and close my eyes and I'm playing, and one of the guys will go left, and the rest of us will say, okay, we going with him. You know, I could see a lot of guys try that on stage and it just doesn't work out. You know, so we felt each other. You know, we didn't have to look at each other to see that, okay, he's about to do something. You could feel it.
I never sang. I sang background a few times in a few songs, but I never was up front singing. And for some reason, and this is, mind you, after doing hundreds of shows, I had the feeling that Kenny Mitchell was going to have me sing. And 3 minutes later, I was holding the mic and I was in front and the spotlight was on me. And I can't explain to you how I knew that was going to happen, but I just felt it.
We had the force. It was a force.
When you talk about an element of a sound of a keyboard, a synthesizer, if you will, a tone of what tones go on the record, whether a bass should have a plucking sound or should it have a more muffled sound for a particular song. We didn't just say, let's just plug in and play and every song's gonna have that. Frank Funches paid attention to every sound. I'll never forget this. When we were recording Pick and Choose, he didn't like the sound of the vocoder. He said, it's not recognizable. We can't really understand what you're saying. Let's change the tone with this. So he started changing the knobs on there that the vocoder was plugged into on that keyboard to change the sound of it so it could be our sound. I like the fact that whenever things went wrong, he never pointed fingers at anybody. Whenever we had an issue come up, he always included himself in whatever the issue was. Half the time, it wasn't even his fault, and he included himself in it. But I would say his logic became glue to this band.
Our thing was to attack the hearts of the women.
Not a girl in her 40s don't know about Radiance.
On Sundays, you could hardly get down the street. We would have, you know, like roadblocks. There were a couple of articles written on that by Lee Hildebrand from the East Bay Express.
And why would that be? What would be out in the street?
Oh, the cars with the girls. Yeah, they would come. We had a gig in Monterey or Salinas or someplace, and I looked up and there they were. So we eventually, I decided, well, you know, I can't beat them, so we formed the Radiance fan club.
They had a fan club. How could I join it?
Actually, you can either get in touch with us through Isaac here at the station, or if you go around and buy that Pick and Choose album, I believe there's some information right on the back of that concerning just that. So you can do that. Sure. But if you have any other questions, you get in touch with the fan club through Isaac. And thanks for calling.
Okay?
Okay.
We were playing in an outdoor concert, and I believe it was after we had played.
Me, Frank, and Eric wanted to wander off. So we decided we wanted to go away from security.
Yeah, you want to walk amongst the crowd.
And walk amongst the crowd.
As we were walking, it was about 12, 13 young ladies that came up to us and asked us for autographs. And when we were playing, where we were playing at, we were walking through the park a little bit further. And when we turned around, it looked about it looked like it was about 300 people coming at us from every direction.
Army.
And I've never been so scared in my life, and I lost my pants.
Oh, no.
Leonard was an amazing drummer. Leonard is an amazing drummer. He has an amazing feel for the music himself. And not only does he have a feel, but he is able to incorporate what everybody else is playing, which was just a phenomenal thing to witness. Meaning Leonard would be locked up with Eric playing bass. But at the same time, I may play a horn part on a keyboard, and Leonard is right there with me. And he can anticipate and accentuate what everyone else was playing, and at the same time keep this great rhythmic feel happening. And oh man, I miss hearing him play.
My thing was being level-headed at times, not all the times, but most of the time. I guess I had a leadership quality. I wasn't the leader of the band, but I had the leadership quality. Together between Ken and myself, we kind of pretty much ran things.
We would actually have fist fights right before a show.
They were throwing bar stools, and the fight was on. Come time to go on stage with 10 minutes or 15, you would never, they were on stage playing music like they loved each other. You would never have known. And this not only happened that one time, this happened several times.
And it was usually Byron and Leonard, or Byron. It was usually Byron.
She was the best manager we ever had, because she made sure we always had engagements. We were always playing, and she made sure that the club owners didn't take advantage of us. She was even there when we signed the record deal to watch out, because there's a lot of sharks out there. And she fed us and, made sure we stayed out of trouble. She was there for us, and I'll never forget that.
You've got such diverse personalities, but everybody, and I mean everybody in that band, could just crack each other up non-stop.
They were introducing us one by one. And I remember Kenny Mitchell coming out, and when they said, Kenny Mitchell, he walked out, he hit the split so hard, he bumped his knee, and he could barely get back up. He tried to play it off like he wasn't hurt, but as soon as we were away from the crowd, he started limping. And I said, yeah, okay, you thought you was bad. You went out there and got the red knee.
I don't want to talk about the red knee.
It has been recorded.
I was gone all day. All day. Everybody was wondering where I was, because we didn't have studio that day. We didn't play no bar. I was just gone. Then when I came back, I bought a red marker. Remember I marked my face? And my hands up, man, I got jumped. Everybody's ready to go fight, boy. That was so funny stuff there, boy. And everybody going, that's the funny, and when we drove the maid crazy.
Tyrone was good for taking, I don't know how he did this either, but he made a bed look like there was a mattress there. So you would go to lay down, and then you go bloop and hit the bottom,
We had this cook, and she always cooked some sort of chicken dish for dinner. And Frank was like, man, I'm tired of eating chicken. So we ended up firing her. We got rid of her. And the first thing Frank ran out and did was bought a chicken sandwich from Jack in the Box. I thought you was tired of chicken. Man, I'm hungry.
It was family of brothers, man. We had fun. We did things besides music. Sometimes brothers go to the mall, to the movies, play ball. It was just a family thing,
When we would walk off the stage, everybody didn't go separate ways. We left there, we would go eat, we would spend the night over each other's houses, and our families were close.
Radiance wasn't a group of exceptional musicians thrown together and hitting the stage performing. It was about a group of friends, but more importantly, a group of friends who shared a love of music, a love for each other, and just an uncanny, unbelievable chemistry once all 7 members were together and on a stage.
Radiance was not a band of musicians. Radiance was a band of friends.
Oh, I'm gonna tell the truth. See, ain't nobody gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna tell you the truth what happened.
The first album that we recorded, we all had input. But once the record company or our management company found out who was the real talent in the group as far as writing, they wanted him to write all the songs, you know, and which should have been fine, but it wasn't. I think everybody kind of disagreed with that, and they wanted Kenny Taylor to write all the songs on the album, but nobody actually wanted to go along with that.
We got frustrated. You know, the group, everybody wanted certain things, and we were older, and, you know, the record contract wasn't the way we wanted it, and I just think it caused a lot of tension, and everybody just threw up their hands and went their own separate way.
I ran to somebody in Atlanta, man. We were playing with the Ohio players. They said, man, I remember you from the Bay Area. You were in Radiance. I said, man, this people still remembering this band.
I love everybody, man. I mean, honestly, man. I mean, this was a huge part of my life, man. You know.
Man, it was just phenomenal. You know, now that I really think back on it, we did some phenomenal things.
When I was a little boy growing up, I never thought that I would be, you know, a musician and to achieve what this band has accomplished. You know, because everybody wants to be out there and be a star, you know, but we were the lucky ones.
We had fun.
Would I enjoy playing with them again, whether in private or public? Absolutely. Do I feel that they're family members, that we are still family? If someone asked me, how do you feel about them today? I would say, Radiance. Oh, you mean my brothers? Absolutely.
I miss the guys. I wish we could do it one more time, just for the sake of what we had, man. Just to do it one more time, whether it's on a big level, small level. I'll be down to do it.
Value of people that are still alive, that I know, that I care about. I take that to heart, you know, and to see that happen again, not only would I want to see it, I mean, I've talked to people in the industry that would love to see it. Sheila E., Raphael Sadiq, they would love to see that. I would love to see all the Bay Area musicians get together and rent the Coliseum and just give a jam fest, you know what I mean?
Being up on stage with them, you know, because there's no feeling like that. I mean, I've been in other bands and I played with other people, but it's not the same.
I would, you know, I mean, I'd like to go see it. I mean, you know, if everybody was down for it, man, you know, heck, of course, you know, it would be fun, you know.
Radiance wasn't about the things that happened to us. It was about us and what we felt when we were together performing, and that has not been matched in my life since. And I'm pretty sure I speak for everyone else when I say that the experiences that we had together can't be touched.
So we're rolling. Kenny Taylor, take one.
Byron Gibson. Baby, 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 baby.
Come on, just one little second.
All right, let's see. Who can make the sunrise? I worked last night. Sprinkle it. No, that's it, man. That's it, man. That's it. Cause you know, Frank, I don't know why I did that.
Radiance was like wild. You couldn't hold them down. They were just wild.
And I'm doing it with a band I admired growing up, and we opened shows for them. But to be working with them, and they consider me a member, I don't think I'm a member still. I still bring Radiance attitude to the table with them. That's why I stand out with the function a little bit, because I bring that radiance in. I remember we opened for them and we upstaged them and everything. We walked in front of that stage while they were performing. Had everybody screaming, ah!
To go from art class to first class the record business was like, man.
God had graced this band with a whole lot of talent. Whole lot of talent. Everybody had a part to play.
Then it was Dramatics, and then I had a cousin that was in Enchantment. I mean, these cats were all, the Dramatics were an older group in the neighborhood, but these cats were, just high school kids, And I just went from street to street listening, and I was always following my brother behind. And then one day, like I said, I found out, I could sing. And the rest is history,
Man, did you see those 10,000 people out there screaming? And did you see that? We still get excited about that. I know my wife can vouch for me. I still play some of the concerts and go, is that me?
As far as the music, we gonna back that up.
What do people say?
And I used to say, look at this boy, he's screwing the floor. Why is he doing that?
The Monterey Fairgrounds. And right before we went on stage, we were backstage, and I could look out and see the audience, just a huge crowd of thousands of people. But it wasn't the crowd that got me. It was the fact that I was standing on a stage about to perform in the same place where a lot of my musical heroes had stood. I thought about all the people who had stood and done what I was about to do. People like Miles Davis, people like Jimi Hendrix, people like Duke Ellington. It was just amazing. It was mind-blowing to me.
Putting the Kool-Aid in the iron. So when you heat the iron up and you go to iron your clothes, here comes Kool-Aid out. That was hilarious.
Man, them was some bad cats. They gonna hit you, man. They gonna hit you with everything they got, the music and the showmanship.
When morning comes, I'm awakened by somebody jumping up and down on the bed, and when I open my eyes, I look up and it's Frank, and he's jumping on the bed and he's singing this song. I'm like, Frank, what are you doing? It's time to get up. It's time to get up. So that was really funny to me because I'll never forget that.
But we wasn't even in the pool. Matter of fact, we wasn't jumping in the pool, but then we found out later that it was little Kenny.